But yeah, welcome to our first multilingual webinar, Spanish and English. And welcome our guests, Ferney Muñoz. Ferney, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you doing?
Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining, man. What have you been up to lately with regards to Wi-Fi? What have been the two top projects you've been up to lately?
I have this project in a convention center in Canada, big one, and also our Wi-Fi authentication class, a class we put together with Huertas LAN Professionals, Mr. Parsons, myself. We worked during Christmas break. We delivered it in Phoenix the first time. Now we have one with the Utah Education Network this week, starting tomorrow. So I'll be on site today, dropping off equipment, and those are the big two things that we have in the near future. But then, yeah, we have WLPC in Spain, in Valencia, we have WLPC in Prague, and then we have WLPC in Mexico later this year. So it's nonstop. It's always going.
WLPC is kind of the leading Wi-Fi nerd out conference that happens in different countries, main events in Prague and Phoenix, and then, yeah, Mexico, Colombia, all of that stuff. And also you have been surveying with Keith, like you did like 10 or so hospitals with Hamina, like just, you know, as a side hustle, real quickly, stuff like that, right?
Yes, yes.
That's fantastic. Well, welcome to the show. And also introducing Mr. Diego Huertas. Ferney, you want to introduce your friend Diego?
Yeah, Diego de Colombia. He's one of my pupils, and we've been hanging around in WLPCs. He's been the Hamina instructor for a while now. The WLPCs we had in Espanol. He's been the official instructor. We will have more Hamina trainings down the road. Basically, Wi-Fi design using Hamina. It's not the official Hamina, but that's what we've been doing. And Diego now works for Huertas, as he's really proud to show his black dog right there. Yeah, he's going to be translating, doing the interpretation en español para todos los que están en el otro lado. And then, yeah, that's him.
Excellent. And on the chat and backend side of things, we have, first of all, Miranda, who's under Hamina Wireless and may or may not show her face here. I don't want to throw Miranda under the bus. Just so you know, Miranda Autio and Jules and Hannele from our marketing have set everything up. All we need to do is jump on board and do our thing. Miranda, on a scale of 0 to 11, how nervous were you about this dual language thing? You're muted.
Yeah.
Or you're on the Spanish chat. There we go.
Sorry, I was in the Spanish channel. What did you say?
How nervous were you about this whole translation thing?
It's like very 100% nervous.
Yeah. When I spoke to your boss Jules about this, like we should totally do like it's Ferney and maybe Diego and dual language webinar, and Jules was like, "You're crazy. We have no time. We have a week. We should invite the audience and try the system and find a system for translation, that kind of stuff." But hey, it happened. Much appreciate your fearlessness, Miranda.
And if someone has any problems, say it in the chat, as I can see if we can do something about them. Yeah. Perfecto. And Joel and Jerry, welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, glad to be on. I'll be helping out in chat.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated. Everybody knows Joel. Everybody knows Jerry. All we need to know is Joel has more APs behind him, but Jerry has more Wi-Fi 7 APs behind him.
Almost.
That's right.
Yeah, you almost got it, Joel, didn't you?
So Joel is going to be doing the interpretation in Finnish. Is that how it's going to work?
Oh, yeah. Totally got it. Even though
Next
there's two
time.
actual Finns on the call, that would make 100% sense.
Absolutely. And I was just gonna say, at some point, Joel, you probably need to share your screen, because you also have see, Diego is shamelessly rocking his ruckus gear, but you also have a picture of yourself, which we were thinking of posting like as a joke of like we're totally vendor neutral, but we didn't dare because some folks might have been upset. But hey, it's just a webinar, so it's just like, I don't know, 600 people or something, so that's fine, right?
I've got it. Should I do it? Should we?
Yeah, go, man. Go.
It's just gonna wreck the screen share all to show this one photo.
Yeah, we at Hamina we are completely vendor neutral. Okay,
Totally.
we absolutely do not vouch for any vendor. This was just a running joke we did. So next will be Cisco one like this, and next will be Aruba. This is just saying that if you are at Cisco, Aruba, Extreme, Juniper Mist, Cambium, Engenius, Joel needs swag, okay? He only has Ruckus swag. Plus his kids have the Ruckus dogs. So if you work for a vendor, send swag to Joel Crane, Hamina Wireless. And Jerry, if you don't mind putting Joel's like work address and everything there, I'm serious. So if you work for a vendor, send swag to Joel, okay? This was completely unrehearsed, so Joel is actually embarrassed.
I'm actually face palming because like a day or two after I got that swag, Ruckus sent me some mounts to mount some APs, and they also sent this massive bag of swag. And then my daughter came into the office and she was like, stickers, and so there are Ruckus stickers on every surface of my house right now. So thank you, Ruckus, for that. Love you guys.
All right. Anyway, with 10 minutes in the clock already, welcome to the webinar. And this agenda will be like we'll be giving out wireless tips or kind of like our best practices that we like to do, and yeah, that's gonna be it. And at the end we'll have Q&A. So step right to it. Ferney, look at that karate chop. Step right to it. That hurt. Ferney, you want to start? What are you thinking? What have you been up to lately, and anything that has stuck with you? This is how I like to do things.
So yeah, so the I think one of the things that I would like to share with the audience, we have a lot of people here, and after surveying, doing hundreds of miles with different tools, we used to do all this stuff with Ekahau, and then we've done it with Netalai, and we've done it with Hamina. Lately, I've done a lot of hospitals with Hamina. Let me just share a few of my favorite things. Of course, this first one is one that is my screen on your screen? This first one is one of the things that I don't know. I know you have shown in other webinars, like the cool stuff about importing walls and doing that stuff in your design. But here's one that doesn't take, people don't talk much about it, but I did a survey of the of my house. Here's the man cave. Here's where I am right now. I surveyed the entire place. I mean, it's not that big, but this kind of a cool thing. I'll tell you why. I know people's like, well, we have the AI automatic wall import, and you guys do an amazing job. I mean, with Jerry, we were importing these really, really crappy floor plans, and boom, it's just like super nice import. And that's good. But places like this, outdoors, or sometimes you have multiple buildings and then you have multiple things inside. Yes, you can import all the walls, but how about racks? How about TVs? How about shelves with stuff? You don't actually import that when you do a drawing, and the floor plans will not include that one. So I find this feature really fascinating because, for instance, I did the survey, and if I look, for instance, at the coverage, looks good. As I did the survey, this is what I discovered. If I select one of the access points, as I walked away, it was weak. It was good when I was nearby, and then I walked away, and then very straightforward, very simple stuff that we do with different tools with Hamina. This is what it shows. That's the survey portion. Now, if I want to do design on this place, that is complex because we have trees and we have sheds and we have a chicken coop. How do you design a chicken coop? There's just wire mesh around it. And I mean, how many dBs? And there's not, I don't know how AI is going to import that, because all you see is maybe a wall, or maybe it's not in the floor plan. Well, if I switch to design, I have an access point right here. Let me just delete that access point. So this is the exact same project. All I did is imported the floor plan, gave it a scale, and did the survey. So now with that survey data, I switch to my simulation. And then in here, if I go to access points, I can just drop that Aruba 635 access point. Sorry, Joel. Sorry, Diego, there's not a Ruckus AP in here, it's an Aruba AP. But hey, if I drop that access point, let's say right here, I haven't drawn any walls, I didn't import any walls or anything. Just with the data I learned in the survey, I can just move that AP around my property. And based on if I were to place it there, or here, it's going to show me how much area that AP is going to cover. This is so accurate because right here, it's all open space. And as I walked out there, yeah, it knows that. And if I put it inside the house, then it's going to show me what it is going to cover. I think this is fascinating because even though it doesn't get talked about, because yes, you can import really bad floor plans and have really good walls, you're not importing anything else. So this is one of my favorite things because you do a survey and now I can just drop whatever AP and set whatever power levels I want. And then I know, and this is not, completely simulated because I was here and I walked everywhere, and whatever it learned, it knows that the attenuation areas are there, regardless of what it is. If it's a wall, a rack, a storage unit, whatever it is, it's calculated, it's measured on a real space. Those waves already went through and attenuated through stuff. So now my design is going to be as accurate as it gets.
I like it. Ferney, can I complement that with an indoor version of the same?
Yes, absolutely. Do you want me to stop sharing here?
Let me see if I can. Here we go. Can you see my screen? All right.
Not yet.
I've got it here.
Perfect.
You can see.
So same thing here. Perform the surveys, right? And just to be vendor neutral, not Ruckus. This time it's Aruba. Not only can we, of course, see how the network is working right now, live, using the brand new Aruba live view. So these are live heat maps of coverage channel utilization. But based on the survey only, just like Diego showed, plays an AP, no wall data, nothing like that. And it still does this. And the beauty is that, look at it, it actually still stops at the walls and stuff like that if you're indoors. So it combines kind of the survey data with, and I probably shouldn't spill the secret sauce, but it combines the survey measured data and measurements from everywhere to everywhere with the AI generated walls under the hood. You've never touched the wall tool, stuff like that, but it still knows, it understands from the drawing, and it makes, like in Ferney's case, it doesn't do kind of the wall refinement because it was an outdoor floor plan and the AI refuses to read an outdoor floor plan. But here you can see that it combines the survey data and then the walls to make it even more accurate. Maybe this is something that even Ferney didn't know right now.
I did not.
Yeah, this is such a new feature. Most people don't know about it. And it's only available, I think, if you go to beta and enable surveys to attenuation, right? So you have to go to preferences. Ferney, you want to show? I don't move my screen because I will need to anonymize something, so I don't want to move my browser. But if you want to show where to enable the surveys to attenuation, and is this
yes
only a is this a plus network planner plus feature? I don't even recall, but
I guess Jerry or Joe can answer that question. Let's in the meantime come over here. So if I want to enable this, I was like calling Jerry late one night because I was like, where was it? He showed it to me and it was right there. So first, if you go to, let's see if I remember, if I go to preferences, I'll have to enable, let me just, my screen on your screen, that good size, okay? So I'll have to go and enable beta features. And then here is when the enable survey-based environment learning beta, that all this has to be enabled. Okay, so once this is enabled, let me show you where you go and do that. Let me come and bring the screen back here. So I'm in simulation. I'm an access point there. That's where I choose the access point. But in order for it to learn the environment, I come down here. Let me just get closer to this area where the colors are. Click on those two arrows. And then here's where you decide if you're going to do simulation for Wi-Fi or 4G BLE and Ocean. What's an Ocean? In Ocean and Ocean?
It's a low-power IoT technology. For example, in the Aruba APs, you can enable it by plugging in a USB dongle.
Okay. So now if I go to global settings, then down here, that's where I set it up. Like originally, it's going to come like you want to do the simulation with walls and objects that I draw. Well, I don't need to draw anything because in this case, since I did a survey prior, once I come to the simulation side of things, it's going to give me this as an option like, hey, I also have survey data. You want me to use what I learned when I was walking around? And if I click that one, then it's going to use that environment learned from the survey data. And that's what allows me to get all the measurements. And how is the software going to know? Well, as I walk around, and yes, to Mr. Parsons' point right there, the rules for surveying still apply. When you're doing a continuous, then you are gonna click when you start, you click when you change speeds, you click when you change directions, and you click when you stop. One. Second, walk as much as you can. Get in every room, get in every storage area, get in the bathrooms. I know people have a thing with me in bathrooms, like, what do you have with bathrooms, man? You're always surveying bathrooms. Bathrooms are extremely critical. And doing these hospitals, using and doing those elderly care facilities, bathrooms are the most important places, because where do elderly people usually fall and have accidents? In the bathrooms. And then the bathrooms got the door closed and the bathroom got poor coverage, then that's a problem, because if they have a device that uses Wi-Fi to call for help and there's no coverage, then that's a problem. So I like to survey everything. So the more you walk and the more data you collect, the more data points you give to the software to learn about the environment, attenuation across different areas and different stuff. Okay, you ready for my next favorite thing? Or do you have anything to add?
Go, man. I'll go after you.
Okay, well, there are a couple different. Let me just show you the next one. Okay, this is. Let me see. How do I get back to
I guess my first question is, why do you use this and not natively AirPlay to Mac?
Oh, I don't probably know how to do it, man. I fight with technology. I'm not the most savvy person out there. I'm using a Air server.
No, I think you have a fancier tool than I do. I just do the native like Apple AirPlay share, and it doesn't allow like window on window.
You know, I started using Air server when COVID hit, and we were doing classes online, and I just got used to it. And okay, so let me show you this really cool thing. Okay, here's the let me just make this. Here we go. That better, so there's no background confusing things. Okay, this is the survey I did of my property. Watch this. Oh man, it
takes a while to update, by the way, the kind of rotation. But if you show it more slowly, like rotating it, right?
In slow motion. Okay, watch this. This is one of my favorite things, that as I am walking, doing a survey, I can rotate the map to show the exact direction where I'm heading. Doing those hospitals, we're talking millions of square feet walking up and down. And I'm sure Mr. Parsons can attest to this. It's just difficult to find your way. And sometimes if you're going down in the map, it's hard because you always tend to go up in the map. So I can just rotate the floor plan in the direction where I'm walking. I love that. Awesome. Thank you guys very much, because this makes our job so much easier. You have no idea. You have no idea. Okay.
And I think for this goes to Pasi Keränen, who just made it happen, you know, when we were starting the iPhone app, and it's become like, you know, one of the most loved things about the whole app.
Yeah. Now, let me show you my next favorite thing. Let me see if I can bring this guy in here and open this guy. All right. Happens that a design was done. Let me, hey, Jerry, how do I then tell Nat to show me all the APs on mouse over? Is it here, global settings?
Yeah,
it's there.
Yep, right there. List all on mouse over.
Here, I need my eyes. Where are my glasses? Holy smokes, I lost them already.
You can increase the text size. There's a good tip there too. If you hold down Command and press plus, it'll increase like the font sizes on the screen.
Oh, Command plus.
Yep.
Oh, look.
Yeah, it makes the whole UI bigger.
Holy smokes! And where's that red stuff coming? Oh, you had it there. Okay, list of APs on map. Okay, this one doesn't have it. Okay, perfect. All right. So let me show you this. This is extremely exciting to me, and I just want to share it with the people because this makes our jobs easier. So design was done. Let me see. I think I removed some. Let me just use this corner right here. A design was done, and then this is kind of like what was proposed to the customer. Let me just Control Z this guy. Let me move this guy over here. All right. So we proposed having an AP there, an AP here. Everywhere there is an AP, that's what we propose in the design. The ones that are red right now, like those 4 right there, the customer, once the proposal was presented, decided is like, no, that's too many APs. We don't have budget for that. Don't place an AP there. Don't place an AP there. Don't place an AP in those rooms. Because, you know, we have APs here and there. So the customer decided where to place. I mean, we proposed, presented a floor plan with the map. As you can see, yeah, that would be sufficient. So far, so good? You following? Okay. Then we have to go. The APs are deployed. Now we have to do the validation. Go and measure the space. I just switch to my survey. And what does it show? The exact areas where the design said APs should be placed. And the customer said, nope, remove them. Then now we know and we can demonstrate with just a click. Now, here's the best part. That if I zoom in, let's say I come over here to look at those 2 rooms, and I switch back to my design without even moving my floor plan or zooming out and putting me on the whole floor plan again, I can specifically focus on this area right there. So I think this is one of those sort of things that maybe is not talked about much, but is fascinating and makes our jobs so much easier. And yeah, look my walking paths. Walk the perimeter of every room if you can. The more data you collect, the more information you're going to have. Now, if I were to use this survey to do a design, now all of this data is going to be really accurate because I walked everywhere. And as I walk into the bathrooms, I close the doors behind me and stay there and collect more data because that's going to give me a better idea of what is the attenuation of the surroundings of the bathrooms. And, you know, people think that it's the mirrors that make bathrooms difficult. It's not. It's the wet walls. There is the drywall. There is a brick. There is tile. There is all kind of really hardcore attenuating materials in bathrooms that cause the waves from the access points outside not to penetrate very well. So in some of these places, they also have for soundproofing things, they add cinder block or add denser materials. So yeah, think about it. And again, this ties into the feature of doing a survey. And notice, walk every single room, especially in these older people care facilities. It's extremely crucial to have data inside of every room, bathroom, storage, all of those. And also we do a lot of schools. And unfortunately, if we have an emergency incident, we wanna make sure that there is coverage everywhere. So I do bathrooms, I do locker rooms, I do in the gym areas, all the storage facilities, the mechanical rooms, everywhere. I would be doing this type of stuff because the more data you collect, the better it's going to be. How's it going?
Hi.
Oh, man.
It's funny.
Happening?
The hotel room door is knocked, and who do we have here? Peter, Rob. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Welcome.
Yeah, Rob, we've been talking about mist all morning, man. Where have you been?
Well, I heard you. That's why I decided to come down to Oslo and show up.
Yeah, we didn't show any black dogs. Or I mean, yeah, we haven't. Yeah, mist is great.
Totally didn't talk about Ruckus and Aruba previously. Joel, it really warmed my heart when Ferney said he's going to talk about the tabs between simulation and survey and live and all of that. You want to tell just a quick insider story on this?
Yeah, I hope we're thinking of the same story. Originally, when you clicked between the tabs, it would reset the view. And so we put a ticket in pretty fast to have the developers make it so that the view stayed. So that was very intentional that we did that. We did it specifically so that you could quickly flip back and forth between validation, design, and live view.
I absolutely love that feature. It's just, you have no idea how much it helps us, because once you have a design, then you can just switch without losing track of where you were. That's one of the problems we had, is that you had to now zoom in and try to find the place where you were. This one is like, it doesn't matter how much you zoom into something, you can just switch, and there it is. It's amazing. Thank you, guys.
A follow-up that I've wanted to do for a while for that is if you have a multi-floor building, to retain the viewport as you switch floors. So if you want to go up a floor, maybe it's like a hotkey or something like that, and it would retain it. So maybe that'll be like part 2 of that feature someday.
Absolutely. And the story I was, Joel, thinking, and sorry to spend time on this, was you had just moved to Finland, I think, or you were still visiting from Boise, and we spent hours kind of thinking of this whole user interface concept of like, how do we combine simulation with survey, with the upcoming live stuff that we knew that we were going to at some point do. And this was kind of where we ended up. And it was totally worth it to spend, like, we spent a lot of time. We usually don't sit in a room, just the two of us, and just like, draw concepts around and stuff like that. But that was,
this one got a lot of thought.
It paid off. Ferney, can I go for a sec?
Absolutely. Hey, you're the CEO of the company, man. How am I going to say no?
Just tell me to go fish. And I forgot in the intro, like, we also did a good webinar a couple of weeks ago with Wi-Fi Alliance, the CEO of Wi-Fi Alliance, Kevin, and you may want to check it out too. It's probably in YouTube's and those kind of places. And we do all kinds of Wi-Fi tools, blah blah blah, and wireless tools and that kind of stuff. But I guess one of my favorite things is actually the kind of like per quick overview of a site. So even when I used to work for a Wi-Fi vendor, I went to a customer site. Rob is laughing. He totally doesn't know which vendor it was. So when I went to a customer site, the first thing I did, sit down in the meeting room with the customer, and I pulled up my back then maybe a different Wi-Fi tool of choice, and just opened up the real-time view and went through like, okay, let's look at the lay of the land that you currently have here that we need to fix, and kind of like spot the obvious things of the network. So I'll just let's see if I can still AirPlay. Can you see my screen, by the way? Can you see my phone now?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. So it said connecting, and now it's connected to my Nomad. All right. So, for example, here I'll just click on the real-time stuff. I would give the customer the lay of the land, or if I go on a troubleshooting gig, or if I just in my hotel room want to see what this is about, just check out like what's going on in the network. Let's say on 5 gigahertz, so I can see my primary AP signal strength, my secondary AP signal strength.
You've got quite a good secondary signal strength.
I do.
For a hotel.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
impressed with
And on 5 friggin' gigahertz, that's pretty
So
good.
Jussi, let me stop you there for a second. The primary and secondary signal, are those the ones from the association of your phone, or how do you end up?
Yes. If your phone is associated, it picks it up automatically. Otherwise, you can click the top right corner here and select your network of choice as well.
Oh, so I don't have to join that other network that I want to look at primary and secondary.
Not at all, because the Nomad is everything anyway, right? So we do know. And then if you have neighboring APs, it will also show the loudest neighbor signal strength here. But since we don't have anything, there you go. And then kind of get the lay of the land of the entire 5 gig spectrum. So clearly we have 40 megahertz channels. And this is what I find interesting. Like even though there's just one on each of the channels, pretty much there's just 1 or 2 clients associated. So clearly like people are still out and about, they're still having dinners. This hotel has pretty thick walls. So we can't really see that many actually the thick walls have nothing to do with it, but people are still not using the network. But let's go on 2.4. This is what I find interesting all the time. And by the way, I'm not using a spectrum analyzer yet. So this all is without the spectrum analyzer. We can get things like channel utilization here, the color of the bars, obviously height of the bars being signal strength, color being how utilized the channel is.
So Jussi, why don't you click right up where it says spectrum to the slider bars, the configuration button?
Mm-hmm.
Move. Yeah, there. So that's what those colors mean then. So the utilization, if you have the spectrum, then the top colors, that's where it's coming from. The lower ones is the
yeah,
if
it's
you have
my
clients
APs, other
associated, right?
APs.
That's the
and
associated
like,
clients, yeah.
exactly,
Right, so if
exactly.
you don't have a spectrum analyzer connected, then this utilization comes from the QBSS load field on the beacon. Is that correct?
Exactly. Correct. Absolutely does. Absolutely does. So even without the spec and you can get a reasonable like assessment of your network. At least to me, the kind of main things are channel utilization and how many clients do you have. Those dictate a lot of like you know how the network is doing overall in terms of how crowded it is. And of course, we can always stick in a spectrum analyzer to the strap, just clip it on here, and you will start to see raw energy coming out of it.
Okay.
It's really cool how fast it picks it up because you literally plug that in.
He just plugged that in. That was amazing.
Yeah, it does pretty instantly. And then you have the SSIDs, all yours, neighbors, and then the APs. And this is probably why we were seeing high utilization despite almost no clients in the network. It's because of the minimum data rates are at 1 second,
Yeah.
and you still have a reasonable number of APs there.
Yeah, that would do it.
I'm just shocked to see that everybody's on 1.6 or 11. You don't see that in it.
Yeah, that's true.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it is.
Good
It
job,
is.
Good job, Central Oslo.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is shocking, but granted, like we are facing the courtyard, so we're not picking up a lot of APs.
Yeah,
It's pretty controlled.
Robert's iPhone is on channel 7.
Yeah, but that was all like get a super quick kind of field of view of what's going down. Over to you, Mr. Muñoz.
Okay, so I noticed you had talked about ultra wideband and BLE. I don't know where it falls into the agenda, but we don't have an agenda. We just talk. So
yeah,
I'm curious now about ultra wideband. I know we had the CWNE tags before, and that's been like super accurate when it comes to location. So what's ultra wideband being used for, and what's Hamina's role with that technology?
Yeah, that's a good question, and maybe that's also a segue for a demo, since Keith was already giving me grief. You know, might as well continue on the same side of things. So let me just can you see my screen still, by the way?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, excellent.
So something I learned just as you're doing this demo about, I was at Mobility Field Day. And the Juniper AP has an ultra wideband antenna.
I was going to say you can use
does.
a demo if you would like, but you know I didn't want to say anything to the vendor in the room. You know,
no, but I think that's quite cool.
Yep.
That the AP vendors are starting to build it into the APs now, which is a
vendor.
All right. So let's do that. Let's design an ultra wideband network for a unnamed vendor office. Since I'm totally gonna pick a random, fairly large Wi-Fi vendor who has offices in Tasman Drive as well as San Francisco. Actually, if you Google Cisco San Francisco floor plan, you find a pretty accurate version of their floor plan. So since this is good example, since this has an open area. So
what Wi-Fi are you going to use to design it with?
Exactly.
I'm curious how this is going to work.
Yeah. I may be fired if I use anything but Cisco here. So
you're actually doing multi-vendor though, aren't you?
yeah. You know. So okay. I'll just do the AI wall stuff. And this is a new UI. This may not be in production yet, but you can automatically when you go to walls, it straight draws the walls automatically and asks you like what materials they are.
That makes a video I've just recorded out of date and a few weeks ago.
Sorry, man.
Story of my life, man.
I saw this last week, so your video's been out of date for a while.
Yeah. Sorry, Joel.
I said story of my life. Every time I make a video, the guys do a production push, and then it's
sorry, man. Anyway, let's do a quick Wi-Fi sign, and I'll just for the sake of fairness, since we have a Juniper guy in the room, we have a Ruckus guy doing the Spanish. This is, by the way, a multilingual webinar. So Diego is right now
he's
simultaneously translating to Spanish.
Can we speak faster then?
that's what we're trying to do, is go slower. So
Well,
I'm
you're
gonna...
not trying very hard, because we totally forgot about Diego.
I
Forgot he
Diego
was
is
here.
quite good. So I'll do a 6 gigahertz coverage design first. I'll just ask the auto planner, you know, or whatever. So I'll use Cisco Wi-Fi 7 APs. These also have an ultra wideband radio, and what ultra wideband enables you to do is accurate location tracking, accurate placement of APs, like was presented by Juniper on the latest MFD Mobility Field Day, but also accurate tracking of tags, assets, things like that. If you use it like that. So ultra wideband can track reliably assets down to like less than a meter accuracy, which kind of cool.
It's pretty fantastic.
It is. And this is one of the fairly new things that people may not have found. Like if APs work on different modes, like the Juniper AP45 or Cisco 9178.
You're missing dual 6.
Yeah, I don't know if it does it.
Oh, you're using Cisco. Sorry, that's right. Oh, sorry.
Anyway, with that interruption, we will continue. So sure, Auto Planner kind of designed this for Wi-Fi coverage, but if we look at how accurate would this be for ultra wideband, we can see that okay, but we have pretty strict limits. So let's say 2 meters. I'm okay with 2 meters, and 1 meter would be green. So 3.5 feet location accuracy would mean green color, and yellow color would be less than 7 feet tracking accuracy. Ultra wideband is really, really accurate. So it can easily do less than 3 feet. And here we can see like green is where less than 3.5 feet takes place. But the problem is placement of the radios and the number of radios, and especially line of sight. You need 3 or 4 APs at line of sight. Peter, you went to a warehouse with Suvios, like ultra wideband, right?
Yeah, I did. And what we found was the amount of radios you needed to put in to get the sort of 1 meter accuracy, which is what we were aiming for, sort of sub 1 meter, was an awful lot. Because yes, you need a line of sight, and you end up basically putting them in a bit of a grid. So imagine creating like a square grid around the entire warehouse.
Exactly. And in walled environments, like warehouse is tough because it's semi-open.
Yes.
But when you have walls, look at like it just drops instantly.
It drops straight away. So it's not. The technology works better in bigger spaces.
Yeah.
So in the high racking areas, they actually have this 1D version where you almost set like a point-to-point link.
Yeah.
Of two pointing at each other with directional antennas.
Yeah.
So you do have to think about the design of ultra wideband quite carefully.
Absolutely. And here you can see it works great. It provides great accuracy when you have a little bit of a triangle of APs. See here, for example, the wall shadows this guy a little bit. So it creates a dead zone here and stuff like that. So this to me is quite fascinating. And what we also built for this is, and the guys hate me for this, but I just wanted this jumping roaming man that would... Let's take a ultra wideband. So the roaming man can simulate the behavior of different clients, but it can now simulate the inaccuracy or accuracy of also like tracked ultra wideband clients. So if I put it here, you can see kind of the shadow of a roaming man showing the inaccuracy. So for example, here, okay, it couldn't even track, but here you can see, first of all, like how many APs can it see reliably, and then like what does inaccuracy mean? So it jumps the roaming man around.
Wow, that's really cool.
Because then you can see like, okay, but like, okay, I can get room accuracy, but can you though? Because it might jump out of the room and stuff like that. So yeah, that's to me, like it might jump outside of that wall, for example, and things of that nature. But yeah, that's ultra wideband. So together with Suvio and some of the ultra wideband providers and some of the consultants like Peter, who used to work with Suvio, but with Cisco and those guys, we've been kind of fine tuning this, and this will be in beta. Joel, what do you think about the level of optimism when our CTO says this will be in beta this week? And what do you think about that?
Well, I'm pretty optimistic about it because the CTO isn't the one that's pushing the button to take it out of beta, so it should happen actually.
No, but this is beta. It's not even in beta yet. So the CTO is behind the code that takes this to beta.
Yeah, but it's going to go out with the next production push, I'm pretty sure. So I think there's like a 90% chance this will be publicly available. You just need to go hit the checkbox to turn it on, basically, in the beta list.
Perfect. So it'll be same thing. It'll be here.
right there.
enable ultra-wideband planning beta.
Just
And
like that.
it will show you ultra-wideband coverage as well as predicted location accuracy, and then the jumping roaming man. Should we just call it the jumping man or jumping roaming?
I think jumping man sounds
Jumping
really good.
man sounds really good, yeah.
No one will know what it means, but it's great.
Exactly.
That is just from somebody who's had to do BLE location and watching that like the accuracy and how it bounces around like that, to be able to show that's impressive, because it just visualizes it to a point where you're like, hey, you want this sub-meter accuracy, you're missing something.
Exactly. Apparently we should go call it the Heisenberg man.
Well, I was just thinking, I don't know if you knew this, but I literally a week ago brought myself a set of jumping stills.
Yeah.
So you could just call it the Peterman. On my little jumping still.
Yeah.
Do you know
course.
if some of that ultra wideband functionality is going to be used for like supplement AFC location of like AP to AP inside a building? Anybody
Yes,
there?
Juniper actually does that, and Wes Purvis presented about that at MFD like last week. So definitely go back to Mobility Field Day, watch those videos, and you will find stuff about that. And it's impressive the accuracy that the auto AP locate will do.
Good things about ultra wideband and APs is the location is a byproduct of it, but the ability to kind of accuracy of AP placement and things that you can do once you know what a fine point AP located is.
Yep.
That is, I think, a lot of what people are going to look at the ultra wideband and the APs for.
Exactly. And what we're talking about, for those that don't know, APs are nowadays able to auto-locate themselves on the map fairly well. And there's two different technologies typically used for that. The fine time measurement, which is part of the 802.11 standard, and then ultra-wideband can kind of be used for that too. And ultra-wideband is now in Cisco's Wi-Fi 7 APs and Juniper's AP 47.
Yeah. And then you've also got GPS, which is coming into like
exactly
standard power AP.
And a lot of phones, especially iPhones, they have had ultra wideband chipsets in them for a while, right?
Yep. But the phones, you cannot locate the phones unfortunately, you cannot locate the iPhones, unfortunately, with your ultra-wideband infrastructure, no matter how hard you try, because Apple hasn't opened their SDKs for ultra-wideband, but you can, I believe, locate the Android phones that support ultra-wideband. So
now that we're talking about phones, here's my next topic of conversation, not of discussions, I think it's a conversation, because I get that question a lot from students and friends and colleagues about which one is the best device to do surveys. They talk about iPhones, they talk about iPads, they talk about Android, and say, well, how come we don't have the application for Android? And I'll just give my 5 cents, and then you guys correct me if I'm wrong, which I'm never wrong, except when I'm wrong. Except when I'm wrong, which is most of the time.
You're starting to sound like Matt Starling. Rumor had it that he said at Wi-Fi Design Day, like, you can give your feedback, but I don't care. So you do have one thing in common.
So iPhones. Why the iPhone? Well, okay, let's start with first the reason why iPhone instead of Androids, or why not Androids also? And what I've seen is that iPhones, even though they're usually more strict about keeping everything secret and constrained, it's more stable across the whatever model of devices you have. The OS version is more control, and I'm sure you on your side it's easier for you to design for one thing that you know what to expect. On the Android side, which Android? There's so many different flavors. There are so many different manufacturers. There are so many different everything. It's like Android. I mean, you mentioned the platform, the different manufacturers and stuff. And I assume, I'm not a programmer, but I assume that programming for which specific model or platform is going to be more challenging on your side. What other reasons? I mean, am I on the right path here, or am I totally wrong? The reason why we don't have on-site on Android devices?
That's a good point. So our on-site app is only available in iOS, so iPads, iPhones, and MacBook. And Joel has a better sales pitch than I do for this. So Joel, you want to go, or you want me to go?
Yeah, no, I can talk about it a little bit. I do think that if you're going to develop on Android, I think that for the most part, you can pretty much develop one application and it should run on most flavors of Android. Distributing it is probably a little bit more complicated because there's not just the Google Play Store. There's a few other stores that you would have to get it into and keep it updated in. I think it's doable. The problem is that when you're trying to develop an app on two separate platforms, unless you're doing some horrible monstrosity with a cross-platform library of some kind, you're cutting your development velocity in half. You're taking what you're doing and slicing it in half. And I've seen what happens when you try to do the cross-platform stuff. It's never a good time. It never feels right. It's never enjoyable to use. And one advantage that we get when you compile the on-site code base with Xcode, it basically spits out iOS, iPad OS, and Apple Silicon MacBook support, like right there. It's just bam, it spits it out. The Apple Silicon MacBook support isn't exactly free. I think that would be stretching the truth really far, but it's almost free. And so because of that, we're able to support those three platforms. And also, a 10th gen iPad is $350 and it's great.
Amen.
Like it's really good. So
yeah,
that's the justification.
And yeah, and I'll get to, because first is the discussion of like why iOS, not Android. And I think that addresses that. And I know in many countries, especially in Latin America, now we're having this in Espanol, Apple is seen as this yuppie luxury item that in some companies, they have this explicit policy about no Apple anything, no computers that are Apple, no phones or tablets that are Apple, because, you know, whoever has it is like, oh yeah, no, you're special, you're, you know, better than everybody else. So don't look at that when getting a device for your surveying as a, you know, luxury item. It's a needed item for collecting good data. Now that we have iOS devices as, okay, now we know why we use those. Let me tell you, the iPhone has been my most favorite tool to do surveys anymore.
Yep.
Before, you know, me, I was always the guy with a tray. I had a survey tray and I had my computer because I was like, nah, all those handheld devices, they don't give me everything. And the computer have everything. Well, things have evolved. And now that we have iOS devices, the iPhone is the best tool. It's small, battery lasts long and stuff. And now comes the next topic of discussion. Now within the iOS environment, iPhone or iPad, which one's better? Do we have the top of the line, the Super Pro with all of the light and all the stuff? And I guess Joel just kind of like gave me some segue on that. What's the cost and what's the requirements to have on-site running on an iOS device?
iOS 16 or iPad OS 16. That's basically it. Yeah.
So it can be run on a mini, iPad mini, or...
Yeah, it should run on a mini. I use it daily and demo it daily from an iPhone 13 mini that UC will eventually pry out of my cold, dead hands, I think is the plan.
and I will tell you why, the other reason why I like the iPhone so much. I don't need extra devices. And here's the main reason why. In other tools, I don't want to mention any names, other tools, if you have an iPad, you get a certain feel and certain view and certain features. You switch to an iPhone, now it's like half of the stuff is gone. And you're so limited by what you can do that it's like, I'd rather have the iPad. But it's so big and it's so bulky and it's not as comfortable as the phone. And now with Hamina, what I love is that with the phone, I have the same functionality. And since I can zoom in really good and I can tilt and rotate and I have everything that I have on the other side. So I'd rather go with the iPhone anytime. So thank you very much for making it that easy. Again, all of this is good for us in the field, doing surveys, collecting data, walking up and down for long hours. I don't care how light an iPad mini is, it's heavier than a phone. And the phone is just so much, you know, I don't have very big hands. So holding the device in just one hand all the time is just very easy to do. So.
Yeah, man, I'm with you there. And to me, it's like, yeah, development velocity is one, but it's also quality of the product, and it's especially stability and reliability. These kind of tools, like, they need to be reliable and they need to be stable and stuff like that. And I've been like surveying, just like you, Ferney, using my iPhone to survey. Granted, Joel was doing this on an iPad, I think, back in the day. We were surveying a stadium simultaneously. Joel used iPad, I used iPhone.
And here's the other thing. Here's the other
on this.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I think Jerry was reminding me of that. Another really cool feature is that you can put a MagSafe battery on your phone, and that's it. You don't need anything else and run out of battery. You have your Nomad connect to this guy, and this guy has a battery, and then you can go for a long while. And yeah, you may be done with the survey and still have battery left, but sometimes you finish a survey, you have to go to the airport, you take an Uber, then you want to have battery not just for your survey, you want to have battery life for finishing the survey, getting an Uber, getting to the airport, showing your boarding pass, and scheduling things or buying stuff. So yeah, it's a good thing to have that you can have a MagSafe. Can you do a MagSafe on an Android phone? Or, well, you cannot do it on an iPad, right?
No, I don't think
I do MagSafe on an iPad yet.
No,
Yeah, I
you
don't think
can't.
there's any
Yeah.
Yeah, and the iPad is big and heavy already. You don't want to add more stuff to it. The phone is still, small device.
Yeah.
So now I know we're not going to have time for everything. I was going to talk about packet captures, which is really cool, but Jussi, I'm going to ask you a question. I don't know what you're going to show up here, but it's about and you've done it with all of your guys in hospitals doing multiple people surveying on the same project. How do you call that?
Yeah.
Is there a name for that feature?
I guess not. We should come up with something. I was going to say, like, here's a hotel we did, and it was one of the leading MSPs was switching their toolkit from another vendor to Hamina, and they wanted to measure it with Hamina, and then they wanted to measure it with another vendor. And this is kind of what came out of it. To me, the big thing about surveying is kind of stability and all of that. But it's also like, with an iPhone, I was able to have my hotel master key card in one hand and my iPhone on the other. It took me exactly 3 hours to do like something like 400 rooms. I did this all by myself. The guys were doing their comparison testing, stuff like that. So I was like, screw you guys, I'm gonna survey in that entire hotel myself. I have the master key. See you like in 4 hours. And that's what I did. But it was so fast with an iPhone, it leaves your other hand free for the key card. So you can just go in the room, survey, go in the room, survey.
Or just opening a door.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Flash the key card, open the door,
Well, I'm just saying,
continue.
even without a key card, just being able to do things, open a door, move a chair.
Exactly. And then you're kind of able to do this, 1.2 kilometer survey in a row, a single survey of a mile, 1 mile long in a hotel. That's a lot of surveying, like 30 minutes. I never stopped the continuous survey. I just went on for a mile inside a hotel, room to room with the one hand. But yeah, the multi-surveyor stuff is fascinating too. I actually have a video about that, I think.
It's a good teaching tool too. The multi-survey was teaching one of our junior guys how to survey. And I could watch while he was out walking. So I didn't have to follow him around. I could just be like, oh, and then we could go back and take a look where he was and how he was doing it.
Exactly. Look at this lovebird. Joel and Serenity here.
Oh yeah.
You can actually even see the surveyors moving in real time, kind of doing their surveys. Not only did we have 8 people surveying this hospital simultaneously, entire hospital, every single room, 8 floors, 4 hours, something like that, Joel, right? But this is you and Ren, kind of me observing you and Ren doing a survey in another floor.
You're being stalked.
Yeah.
I like how she's having to go back and redo Joel's work though.
Oh
yeah, one improvement that's coming soon is right now we feed I'm going to use a fancy word and say telemetry here, even though it's just taps on the map, right, back into Network Planner. We're, especially after doing this survey, we're going to do the exact same thing in on-site, and so you can see where the other people around you are surveying. All the machinery is there. It's just a matter of getting like the animations and everything connected in the on-site app. So
it's like Pokemon Go, man.
That's going to be really good for not resurveying the same room and sort of knowing where people are and what they've done.
That's the number one.
Really helpful.
Yep, absolutely, Peter. That's the number one thing that we walked away from that survey feeling is like, man, we need to have this in on site so that we don't end up resurveying the same thing twice, because that's exactly what happened in that video that Jussi grabbed.
Exactly, and I've hidden the background map from here, but yeah, it is kind of cool to have multiple surveyors go do their thing, and it's just incredibly powerful. And there's no, like, you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to manually sync anything or worry about did it sync or not. Only thing you need to do is after the survey, make sure your phone stays alive and the app stays up so that it gets to sync the data to the cloud. That's it. And this was like 0 connection errors to the Nomad, 0 syncing problems. It just friggin' worked.
Now, here's my last thing that I wanted to bring up. I know you have shown and demonstrated the live view with mist, and that's really cool. And now we tested it, and we were gonna, if we had time, we were gonna show a little bit of it. But then Ruckus, I saw that you integrated with Ruckus one already, and it shows really cool data. So now that's another thing that you adding, and I'm sure you're adding more. The API stuff, that looks pretty cool, because we've done surveys with Jerry in Mexico. We did a survey of the hotel using the G3, using this guy. And then we uploaded that to Hamina, which is really cool. But then that integration is not only with this other tool, but also with other vendors. And now Ruckus, you can set up the Ruckus one and then also enjoy the live view and be able to send data back and forth, correct?
Exactly right. Exactly right. The new stuff on the live view is Extreme Networks, Ruckus, and HPE Aruba New Central. These are all brand new. So let's say I wanna get my Ruckus stuff. Like I have nothing in Hamina, right? And then I just go to my Ruckus, and we'll start to see like live heat maps of the APs per SSID.
So these APs are real APs that are live connected to a Ruckus One infrastructure, or
correct.
And
correct.
then it's just giving you that data back in
exactly right. Exactly right. And we kind of enrichen the data in Hamina with like, you know, AI walls and 3D predictive modeling and stuff like that. So you get real-time heat maps, for example. You get things like that. You get the channel configurations of the APs, like kind of like visibility. You get even the switches, things of that nature in Hamina as well, which APs are connected to which switch and stuff like that.
So it also pulls, oh, wait. So it not only pulls data of Ruckus One for the APs, but also they have Ruckus switches. They also get that data out of it?
Yep, absolutely. So it seems. Oh, I totally knew that.
Yeah,
I totally knew that.
ICX 7150, 24 port. See, this is amazing. This is great.
Yeah.
Well, and we are at the top of the hour.
We indeed are. This be true. So yeah. And then we go to our shortest ever Q&A. Since we're already at the top of the hour, not that I all have to work on material for tomorrow's board meeting, but by the way, the presentation tomorrow morning, which I also have totally prepared. Anyway, any questions that rose up? Jer Bear, Allah, you've been awfully quiet. Anything arise from the chat that you'd like to?
Charles, thank you very much. He said like it's 3 a.m. in Australia. He needs to go to bed so he can function. Not tomorrow, Charles, later today. So thanks for coming.
Thank you, Charles. That's dedication.
Yes.
Yeah. Luna did have a question in here, and maybe Luna, you can provide some more details on the questionnaire, some context. He had some questions around thoughts around iPads. I think that's supposed to be for iPads SS. I'm assuming that's spatial streams. Some advantages as a tool with Hamina. Yeah, I don't know if you're thinking like on the simulation side or for the survey side specifically. Maybe you can jump on your mic, Luna, and kind of explain what you're thinking there.
Yeah, I wonder. Go ahead.
While it gets to it, thank you very much, Diego. There are some guys posting about, thank you for translating and doing the interpretation. That worked out pretty good. This is the first time ever. Good experiment to do. I could have spoken Spanish myself, but it's not the same as when we have Diego that also knows the product, and that we can have the two tracks. We'll see later how it went. I'm sure we don't get that feel because we've been just talking, but he's doing all the heavy lifting on the other side, talking and interacting with the guys in Español. So we'll see how it goes later. Gracias.
Kudos to Diego.
Yeah.
Muchos respetos, Diego. But yeah, the question was about iPads, and well, maybe we get the question asker on the line. But what about Peter? What about Rob? iPad or iPhone for surveys, or Android?
Do you want me to go first? Well, that one up.
Yeah, well, not Android.
He's choking up.
I am choking. I think. I've always been, I'll be honest with you, I've always been an iPad person because I've liked the real estate on the screen, and I don't find an iPad heavy.
Yeah.
I've maybe got a little bit more strength than Ferney. No. So I quite like the iPad just because I like to see more of the map. Yeah. And that's just been my preference, but I'm quite comfortable with a phone as well. Yeah.
I started when we started being able to do things on iOS. I started with the big 12.9 iPad because again, real estate. You want all that real estate, and it has slowly migrated its way down to where I'm using either the phone or the mini. But I keep a mini with me for the plane anyway, so it's one of those things that makes me feel like my entertainment device on a plane. That I'm not doing work, that I'm watching movies, has a value outside of. So yeah, I'll either use the phone or the mini now.
I've successfully switched my iPad to only, like, iPad used to be my note-taking and survey device, and since my survey now
wait, you can iPhone, survey on that?
No, I wish, but I switched my iPad to like paper or this like
the Remarkable.
The Remarkable. I just like, this is so good for product specs and stuff like that that I just completely ditched the iPad. I survey with the phone, and this is much better for note-taking and kind of forming than an iPad. But yeah, it's very much a preference thing, I guess.
I think it is. I think it's a preference thing. And the beauty is you can do both, can you? So,
yeah, exactly. Exactly right.
And I think it also depends on what building you're doing. So if you're doing like if I want to do a quick, easy survey, I'm going to use my phone every time.
Yeah.
Because I've always got it with me. That's the beauty of the phone. You've always got that with you, haven't you?
Yep, exactly.
So but if you're doing a larger building where context is important and maybe the building plan isn't good. So sometimes like warehouses, you might be, it's okay to zoom in, but when you zoom in, you've just got like an empty space on your warehouse.
Yeah.
And to get context, you want to go, oh, am I in line with that pillar that's at the other side of the warehouse? Yeah, you actually want the real estate on the screen. That's where I think maybe an iPad's better. So I think it's nice to have the options.
Yeah.
And pick the tool that's best for the job you're doing.
Absolutely. Joel Crane.
Yeah, stadiums. I do the same thing, Peter. I need to be able to zoom out sufficiently. I need to balance how far I can zoom out with how accurately I can tap. And so for a stadium, I need to be able to triangulate where I am, but also need to be able to tap on the map accurately enough to tap within the specific row that I'm on. For me, the other piece is battery management. You know, the 13 mini is famous for having a pretty weak battery. And I'm kind of okay with that because I try to just not look at my phone all day. So it kind of works out. But I might survey, like, you know, early in the morning, I might survey with my phone, and then I might switch to my iPad while the phone is in my backpack, you know, charging back up or something like that. So I balance battery life a little bit with them.
Yeah.
So that's why Joel doesn't reply to your messages. You see, he's just trying to balance his battery life. He's by not looking at it.
Exactly right. Now we know the reason. Jerry, any other questions?
Yeah, it was actually a question from Eduardo. Actually, he had a comment first around, thought the Spanish translation Diego did was awesome. Gave us some good props, or Diego some good props on that. And also had a question related to that of when will we have some Hamina training in Spanish?
That's a great question.
That's a really good question. I would say when there's the demanda. So if there's enough people who want Hamina training in Spanish, I know some Spanish instructors that we can make that happen. So drop me an email if you think there's enough of you who would like it, and we'll make it happen.
Oh, now Ferney is risking it with teaching simulation and live view with a stadium. I think you might blow it up, man. Now you're really pushing it, but
no. Now since Joel mentioned stadiums, yeah, we did a lot of walking in here, and let me tell you, out of the 4 tools, Hamina and Cirrus came on top. I mean, dealing with thousands of access points, and you guys helped tremendously on making everything happen. Sorry about the other 2 tools we used; they didn't make it. So I know back in the day I couldn't say anything. I'm still not saying anything now, but still, this is something to highlight that in high density with both Hamina and Cirrus, we were successful. There's a white paper out there pending to show all these results, but this was seamless, the way that it was handled with Hamina, getting such a large space, battery life, the portability of the device, using the phone to go into places. And we were doing this on game night. So it was a really good exercise, and we had no issues. So thank you very much for making that easy. Again, it all boils down to you guys making the tools and making our jobs easier. That's what it's all about. So I appreciate your help very much and the input. You know, I had complaints about other things, and when I bring something to you and say, hey, this is not working, you're not gonna get angry at me and say you're talking negatively about us. Like, no, I'm just showing you something's broken. And what you guys, one thing I appreciate from you is that the one time I show like something was being wrong, you apologize. You said like, oh, I'm sorry, that's not supposed to happen. We'll fix it. And you made it happen. So that's one of the cool things, is that with you guys, it's so much easier to reach out and present problems that you can provide a solution for. So we do what we do on the field, and we need tools as easy to use and intuitive as you make it. So thank you very much on behalf of my Wi-Fi friends. So appreciate it.
Much appreciating that. And we talked about this with one of the really smart Wi-Fi people. Yeah, this was over breakfast in Copenhagen with an unnamed, to be unnamed Wi-Fi person, and he talked well about this, like the distance between customer and software architects. So the closer the software architects that make the product are to the customer, the better the better the experience, and the faster the bugs will be fixed and stuff like that. Right or wrong, at Hamina, like the first person to answer the support, the layer 1 support, is a CWNE level person. And then the next step is either Joel Crane, if he wasn't like next layer of support up the line is Joel Crane. And then the next person is a software architect. And the software architect very often speaks directly to the customer. Like, we can actually leave ourselves out often of the discussion, and they just figure it out. So the customer and the software architect figure it out, it gets pushed to production and fixed.
Yeah. And I actually had one of those conversations with one of your software architects.
How dare you say we ever had a problem? You're indicating that we had a problem.
Okay, so I was
There are bugs. There are
it was a really helpful and enlightening conversation, and you know, all that you get from that is a better product.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Really
both parties get smarter.
Yeah.
You get smarter about the insights of the product,
Yeah.
and the software architects get smarter about how customers utilize the product. Everybody wins. And because like this goes to philosophy, and this is my favorite topic, and Jerry and Joel are tired of me bumbling about this. But AI is making software development so fast that software architects will need to become kind of mini product managers by themselves as well, because they'll be developing with AI features so quickly that software architects will need to make more and more of the calls themselves without needing PM for everything.
So does that mean you're speeding up feature releases?
I never said that. I'll let Joel Crane answer that. All the tough questions I just forward to Joel.
Thanks.
So twice a week feature updates. That's what I heard.
Especially on Fridays.
We love Friday releases, don't we?
Well, UC and I do. We're fine with it. It's
I mean,
it's the developers that have issues with that.
Yeah. The guy who has the monitoring shift over the weekend might lose a couple of hours of sleep. But,
poor Vile.
Yeah, it's always Vile, isn't it?
I love how Jerry just used Hamina to share a meme about Hamina. That was solid.
I'm when you do feature releases halfway through me teaching a class.
Oh, those are hilarious.
Also, I love that Jerry shared that, thus taking the fall for me. Love you, buddy. Thanks for that.
There are no bugs. They're
Interesting
undocumented
map.
features,
I'd like
right?
to see the walls drawn on that one.
Yeah, it's the guy laughing the hardest has the same thing as me. The balls get drawn over the bald spot, where the bald spot and the hair meet.
Speaking of features that you guys added that I don't know many people will notice is AutoWall does curved walls.
Yeah.
And I remember I remember sharing a project with you and asking for it.
Yeah.
Because I did one floor, 860 some odd walls, because I had to draw little walls to make curves around the wall.
Yeah.
And now I can just go.
This was because Kjetil's grok made, you know.
Curved walls.
Yeah.
Wait. Is there such a feature now?
Yeah. I mean,
Or is it coming?
You cannot draw curved walls yourself, but the AI auto wall system kind of like imitate curved walls and stuff like that.
And the AutoWall is really good. Which is
It's
weird
getting
to say,
better
which is
all the
weird
time.
to say that AutoWall is good.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
With the two features, and I said this in a video, auto walls coupled with the selection, being able to either go from the left to the right and select everything in your box, or right to left and only select it. Those two features coupled together have made, I believe, the whole wall drawing experience just totally fast and easy, because you can auto draw the walls, and the one problem with any auto wall drawing tool is all the walls is the same type. But then you can select just the walls you want and change the wall type, and you can get a fully modeled plan with accurate wall types in literally minutes. Even a big, and I'm talking large floor plans here, and it's just perfect.
I can no longer say I can draw walls faster than fixing an auto wall.
Which
is a nice thing to say.
Which,
you didn't use auto wall because you've spent more time fixing auto wall than you did.
Yeah, absolutely. Joel, totally. This was Joel's baby, actually. The whole selection of the walls, like from left to right, different from right to left, right, Joel?
Yeah, but
and also the filter now on wall types.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's also perfect.
Thank you.
Another brilliant feature. There's only one more feature I think you need, and it'll be perfect. Is this a time for feature request?
Yes, of course.
And that is auto detect windows.
Yeah.
So you've got wall stores. If you add in windows, because that's the only thing now I have to draw on. That's the only drawing I do now.
We're totally not talking about roadmap here, but your wish may come true in the future.
There we go.
we can neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah,
but then
we can just nod or shake our heads.
Just nod or shake your head, and then it's perfect. So thank you guys for making wall drawing almost a thing of the past. I would say.
Anything else? One final question, Gerber. What do we got? Do you have a question?
Do I have a question?
Yeah,
I do see a question. Actually, the question was what we were just talking about. Does auto wall tell the difference if it's glass wall or door? So
doors it does. Let's take a quick. This is a segue to an auto wall thingy. So I actually just posted about this too, like just today. I took 5 minutes and recorded something. So I'm now in Oslo, Norway. So I just went to Google Images and said Oslo hospital floor plan or something like that. And this isn't a hospital. This is brannstasjon, which apparently means fire station. You should know, man. You live in freaking Norway. This is a simple example, right? And pretty easy to detect. But see how it doesn't do anything else but these guys, and does a decent job. And now this is the new selector for materials that are detected separately and stuff like that. And this is the new look and feel of the default walls. But let's take a more difficult one. Okay, so hand drawn or maybe a hand drawn with a little bit of background color, WebP. So this might be like an iPhone picture or something like that. Let's see if it actually uploads. The guys may have pushed something new to production, so I may need to refresh the browser. I'm on our test cloud, by the way, as well. So let's see what happens here. Here we go. Okay, so the other one, remember this guy. And see how it's saying, analyzing the scale. So AI also takes a stab at the scale, and then it takes a stab at the walls as well.
And it does a surprisingly good job at the scale.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does.
I always keep going, oh, it's got it right again.
Yep, yep.
They use that 3-meter reference point for the door.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just like, it always gets it pretty right.
It's
and
pretty good.
Yeah, and it also guesses the scope of the drawing. So like kind of the exterior and interior. See how good of a job it actually did.
That's wild.
Like
The difference between something on a different floor and not putting it in scope.
And see here, you would think that it missed this area, but it's a balcony.
Yeah.
It's a friggin' balcony. So it actually, I would have probably drawn walls on this accidentally. But AI, I find this happens to me all the time. That AI actually, I go like, it made a mistake here. Oh, no, it didn't. I made a mistake, which is kind of scary.
So I've got a second feature request for
Yeah.
wall drawing. Here we go.
Yeah.
Because, and I think you must be close, because you can determine the outside of the building.
Yep.
Do the walls on the outside of the building as a different type.
Yeah. That's
And then I can select them as brick or something. And you must be able to almost do that because you just do the ones. On the outside.
we
So
could.
we're trying to do it the zone as it is.
We could, but we're hoping to do something more elegant.
Okay.
Just wait a couple of months.
We'll wait. But there you go.
But that's a great idea. But
Hey, Jussi.
Yep.
Leopold says, you call that a difficult map? I can count the pixels on some of mine. Do you have the really blurry one? The super blurry?
let me see.
The Blur Master 9000 or whatever.
The Blur Master 9000. Which one would I have?
I have it if you want me to.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, I'm just gonna steal. I'm gonna steal your screen share.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do a new project. Blah blah blah.
Oh, you don't have the screen share yet.
No, I don't.
He's sharing. I think it's up.
Yeah,
on
I can
top.
see it.
Oh.
Okay.
He
yeah,
didn't
this
make a mistake. You made a mistake, Jussi.
I've called
We
this
don't
one.
see it, but
We just see Ferney.
yeah.
I don't remember.
Oh, Joel Crane's screen. Here it is.
Yeah, up on top it says how many screens are there.
Okay.
I don't remember who found this one. It wasn't me.
Blur Master 2000.
Yeah. No,
Look at that.
9000.
Wow.
And that's
Yeah.
not Zoom loading your image. That's actually
No.
how bad it is. And look at walls. Like,
Okay, so now we go to walls, auto draw, and look what it did.
I could not
Wow.
draw it that good.
I was shocked. I mean, I was just absolutely shocked. And I think this is, man, machine learning was just made for this.
Yeah.
And I think that our machine learning guys were made for this. Like they just
they're machines, aren't they?
I'm just shocked. I mean, I was the guy at Hamina that I've used auto draw walls tools before, and I was just like, why are we wasting our time on this? Like, let's just make the manual drawing better and just make it as good as possible. This isn't gonna work. This is never gonna replace manual wall drawing. This was me 6 months ago. And then I started seeing these demos and was just shocked at how good it is. Manual drawing it's done. It's over. Like all that time that I've spent people doing left click, right click to stop. Left click. Like we're done. We're done. It's over. So
Exactly. I'm sharing my screen now.
Or if you have access, I know that's really cool, but or if you have access to a site and you do a survey, just do what I showed earlier, that you just do a survey and then use
Exactly right.
the environment learn, and then that's even
Yeah,
more
it's more accurate, right? It's more accurate. Absolutely.
Yeah, because this what you just did, Joel, it's great and it inputs all the walls and doors. But how about the cabinets, the drawers, the racks, the TVs, the stuff? So once you go on site and do a survey, I mean, not always that's the case, but if you do have access to a building, doing the survey and collecting real data, you cannot beat that.
Absolutely. Go on site when you can. Yeah. So here's I was in Copenhagen last week, so I took a picture from the hotel in Copenhagen. You can see the "you are here" dot. So I was staying at the room 1042, right? And let's see. This is a picture from an iPhone from the door of my room, and it's
It's fast.
Yeah, yeah. And look at this. So I thought it's gonna make a mistake here. Like why didn't it draw this? But then if you look at the Copenhagen Marriott, you can actually see that it's a 2-part hotel, and the floor plan only had this part. So it does actually continue here. So again, AI was right, I was wrong. It didn't miss the entire wall. It's just crazy how good it is. It's just absolutely nuts. And one last tip I'll go with is, I don't like the way that this has a like not white background color, especially if I do switching and cabling and you know cable trays and things like that. I want it to be white, so I just go to adjust and I start disabling the background colors from the map. So what happened is Hamina behind the scenes has read all the main primary colors of the map, and then I can just start removing them, assuming that the zoom wasn't eating all the hotel bandwidth and stuff like that. But let's disable a few colors and see if we can make the background white of the map. Now it's a bit.
I was gonna say that's really good because a lot of times
There
you'll
we
get
go.
floor plans from real estate people or that are like green zone, yellow zone, blue
Exactly,
zone.
yeah.
exactly,
You're like, this is
exactly.
the best I get.
Yep.
And then in this case, that this
So
floor
now
is like a beige color. That's not a problem. But when you have green maps and green
Yep,
scenery fiction,
exactly. You don't even need to do a survey. It's green already. Yeah.
yeah.
And you can see here how AI is never perfect. Here it failed. So the dot, the "you are here" dot in my room confused the AI and just said, you know, I'm not gonna draw anything here.
Yeah, but I'll take manually drawing 1 or 2 walls per floor to manually drawing all of the walls. And I'm a weird guy that enjoys drawing walls, so that's saying something.
Same here.
but
It's my meditation.
I'm upset that you made wall drawing so good and now I don't need to use it anymore.
Yep.
You still have
Actually,
your like materials, all of that kind of stuff,
Rob,
though.
you know something hilarious about these improvements that we've been adding to the wall drawing is in order to build these machine learning models, we had to train it, right? And we have been contributing to a data model. We have been manually drawing walls to build this model, and it was all of the developers having to manually draw walls that were like, we should add this, we should add this, we should add this, and that's like what got it done and moved up the priority list like super fast. So, yeah. It all helps each other, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. But this is also a testament of like, this will be like everything in software. This will be an AI race in the end. Like more and more of the stuff in the tool, just like what's happened to Wi-Fi infrastructure already. Now will be happening to networking tools as well.
Don't you think that there's an honest question I mean, it's great that we're promoting all this AI stuff, but in other industries and in other cases, people have shown concern that this is going to replace the guy that does the designs manually.
This does no design. Like AI doesn't do design. It just draws the walls for you. Right?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that is worth highlighting is that this just makes the designer more efficient, because you're not going to spend 3 days drawing every single wall and door and pillar out there. That part is done in mere seconds sometimes. And then you just have more time to focus on what the human needs to do that the computer doesn't do well.
Exactly. And you didn't become a network engineer to click on every segment of the wall in the map. Like you just didn't.
And usually we get either minions or we just outsource that and just have somebody draw it back in the day. But nowadays it's just, you're just making it so easy that you just get some pixelated map out there and boom, there you have it all done and drawn. And now you can work on the design part of it. So
exactly.
Yes, the answer for those who ask about like, well, if I show this to my boss, it's like, I don't need you anymore because, you know, I can just one click and get it done. Like, no, it's not quite like that. It just makes the job easier. And then you can spend more time designing instead of drawing tiny little things. So these guys already did the job of training these machines to do the work. And that's great. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Ferney. And huge thanks to Diego. Like the guy fearlessly just jumps in listens to our rambling and at the same time like simultaneously translates these on another.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's super impressive. So hats off to Diego. Thank you everybody for joining. Sorry it took us 10 minutes to get to the bottom of things. I hope you still liked it. If you liked it, if you didn't, just post like something on LinkedIn that you learned and blah blah blah, become an influencer, and we get tons of publicity and a boatload of sales coming our way. And I can finally get my BMW that would match Joel's 3 Series that he has in his garage.
My 3 Series that is worth less than one complete like Hamina license.
Come on, man. And you haven't seen it for a while, have you?
I haven't, but it's got some issues. It's when you say BMW, people think like a nice car.
Yeah,
It's
fancy, expensive, high-end vehicle.
No, it's a project car. So
It's still nice, man.
I like it.
Either way, I think we need to go grab dinner.
Yes.
It's late. Thank you everybody. Thank you Joel. Thank you Jerry. This was fun. Thank you Peter Mackenzie, Robert Boardman for the visit to the webinar studio, which totally has just this fancy wall and not like a background of a hotel room or anything like that.
And thank you, Diego.
It was great to crash.
Cheers, guys. Talk later.
Cheers.
Thank you. Have a good
Later.
one.
Thank you, Miranda,
everybody.
for setting everything up, and Jules. This was.
So you
Thank
have,
you, Diego.
you have Jussi, you have Jerry, you have Joel, you have Julia. Is that having a J gives you an advantage to get a job at Hamina?
Yeah, and Jeter and Job.
Oh, don't forget Jones.
yeah, Jones, true, Dan Jones, and Journey and Diego.
Diego.
Just end the webinar.
Diego.
Moi moi.